I'm gonna show y'all how to do a mid-drop fade. Let's get right into it. So I wanna know how to double y'all's money as a barber.
Haircut looks good, but you're sending your client home with no product.
We're barbers looking out for barbers. Now imagine making a few extra $100 a week, but not from doing more haircuts, simply just styling your clients with a high quality product.
For all you barbers, we're officially offering our matte clay at wholesale, where you're gonna be able to double your money. So if you're ready, head over to fadedculture.com.
All right, so first we're gonna go ahead and start by saturating the hair really well so that we can go ahead and start our scissor work. And you can find our shear set guys at fadedculture.com. Now on top, I wasn't doing anything crazy. I'm just cutting it even to finger length and just following the shape of his head. Just make sure that when you're moving towards the back that you're only moving about an inch in space at a time. For example, because if you move about 2 inches on one spot and then move 1 inch the next spot and then 3 inches the next spot, then that's what's gonna result in uneven lengths on top. So make sure that you're only moving a little bit at a time towards the back as you pull each section. And then just repeat the same thing on the right side of his head and then repeat on the left side so that everything on top is cut even to finger length. And a good rule of thumb is when you're cutting with shears, don't pass the second knuckle, because once you get close to that second knuckle, you have higher chances of cutting that knuckle off. And you don't want to cut your knuckles off because then you'll be known as the no knuckle barber. And that's just stupid. And before starting my clipper work, I like to really dry off the hair. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set in my first guideline with my trimmer, making sure that it rounds towards the front, then rounds towards the back so that it gives you that drop fade effect. And I'm rounding it towards the front as well because I want to preserve that lineup, that temple arch lineup. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use my WAHL Seniors 2.0, which I can find at wahlpro.com. Use fadedculture 15 if y'all like to get a little discount on them. Now I'm gonna come up about a ½ inch from that previous line, being soft with it and flaring it out as I reach the end part. Then with the one guard lever fully open, I'll do the same thing, flaring that clipper outwards to leave a softer end, and only keeping in mind that I'm coming up about a ½ inch from that previous place that we were at. So every time I'm just coming up about a ½ inch in space. Now with that 1.5 guard lever fully open, I'm gonna start trying to blend the rest of this boat to the top length. So that means that I'm gonna exaggerate even more my flare out, but again, only coming up about a ½ inch in space. So that exaggeration of a flare out is what's gonna help me try to connect to the top without digging in too much to the top length right there, because in this area is where the head starts to start rounding. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the number 2 guard, again still leaving that lever fully open and repeating the process, doing the exact same thing that we did with that 1.5 guard, starting to try to connect the rest or anything else that's left to that top length. Now with that half clip, I'm gonna position that lever closed one time, which is equivalent to that 3/4 position, and I'm gonna start utilizing that corner of the clipper guard to soften up that middle guideline. Take your time and be soft with it. Then I'm gonna go ahead and slap on that one guard, still leave that lever at 3/4 and continue blending out whatever that the half guard couldn't take out. Now for the first guideline, starting with the clipper lever closed, I'll start blending out that initial guideline that we set with the trimmer. Utilizing the same concept of using the corner and being soft and gentle with it. Then I'll close it to that 3/4 and move up a tad bit higher from where we left off. When I'm blending out this last line, I'm basically only moving up about a 1/4 inch in space at a time. Then I'll open it all the way just to finish cleaning up whatever details need to finish connecting that first guideline. Then I'll repeat that same process until we finish that line all around. Since it does take me about a 3-step, since it is about a 3-step process, I like to break it down into smaller sections on this last line to blend it out, just so that it don't get overwhelming and I'm able to focus on a small area at a time. So I started blending the back half and then moved on to the front half. And as you see, the fade is here starting to come together. By the time you get to that lever open, it should be real minimal, which you gotta flare out. If you happen to have like a lot more to blend out with the lever open, that should be a note to self that maybe you're not flaring out enough and you're being too hard with it. Now with the clipper upside down, I'll go ahead and start balding out a little bit harder the bottom part of the hair. And I'm balding it out a little harder because when I come in or come back and take out the rest of the bottom, as you see here, it's gonna leave a little soft guide for us to know how high to come up or how high to take our electric shaver, so that we're not digging in any bald spots into the fade anymore and potentially having to overwork. So by the time I get to that little faint line is when I flare out a little bit harder with my shaver or release a little bit more pressure so that I don't create any more hard lines. And then anything underneath, I can afford to apply more pressure because I'm not worried about creating any more lines there. And then one thing I do recommend, guys, is always taper down the beard. Even if they don't want the facial hair touched up by you, just still clean it up, because I think it always looks funny when you do the haircut and just because they said they don't want their beard touched, you just kind of leave it there and it looks like this ugly chop that's unfinished. So, I mean, just kind of be mindful and ask them where exactly they want the fade to be at, just so that at least it looks like a complete haircut. Now on this side, I went ahead and used a buddy of mine's clippers, so I was just kind of curious on how these work. But this blade right here that I'm using, called a blur guard or blurred blade, I think. It's pretty crazy, but he had been asking me to try it out. I try to use my similar steps, but basically what this guard is supposed to do is eliminate all your other guards, and it's supposed to go from a 0 all the way to a number 2. So I first set in my guideline with the trimmer, and then I came up with this blur guard almost about an inch. And I'm basically utilizing a lot of my corner work, since it is supposed to be a 2, to finish trying to connect to the top, which in my opinion, I don't think it's a true number 2, because I feel like with the lever open, this guard is maybe like the 1.5 guard, if anything. But yeah, since this was my first time using it, you know, every time I'm using a new pair of trimmers or a new pair of clippers, it does take me a while to figure out my specific steps that I need to use with that specific tool. But for the most part, I start trying to use my original steps, and then from there find myself with whatever I need to go about adjusting. But as you see, I only used the clipper lever open. I used a little bit of clipper over comb to finish, and then I just went ahead and started closing the lever and opening it a tad bit to blend out the first guideline. Overall, I thought this concept was pretty cool, but I think I would obviously need to practice a little bit more to really figure out a step or to build a system off of it, because I did feel like I had to basically do a lot of detailing as I was setting myself up, if that makes sense. But as you can see, I was still able to achieve a fade, and yeah, they're pretty dope. I did go on their website though, and I think they're sold out right now on this blade. But I was still curious and I wanted to try them out. So I always see a buddy of mine using them. Shout out to Roman. But this is what he uses, and I don't know. Sometimes it's fun to me to try out new tools and stuff. But after you're done, guys, go ahead and take out the rest of the bottom, and then just repeating the exact same things, guys, by taking out the rest of the bottom and then following it up with the electric shaver to bald it out. I honestly wish I had this type of hair on my head. This is my personal favorite hair to fade. It's like Puerto Rican style hair. I don't know what we'd call it, just more curly style hair. It has a deep contrast, and I feel like it really complements the fade. This is my favorite type of hair to fade. Let me know in the comments what hair y'all like to fade, or what y'all's preferred haircuts to create fades on. But yeah, that's another thing you can do is I highly recommend that you invest in a pair of thinning shears. And not just because we have them or that I'm trying to sell you, but it's just, whether it's ours or another pair of shears that you have, I highly suggest that you invest in some, because they really help you detail your fade, especially getting rid of or pinpointing little dark areas. You just lift up that hair with the comb, chop it with the thinning shears, and it'll gradually cut a little bit of hair at a time till you find that specific fade or that look that you're looking for. But again, guys, with this guard, I just started with the clipper lever open, and then I just try to freehand a lot of it to try to connect to the top, and then just came back and started blending out the bottom with the clipper lever closed, and then I just gradually opened it a little at a time, keeping my strokes short so that I can flare that out or blend that out. And then another good tip is that, or I guess something to keep in mind, like, you need to learn how to balance the clipper on your hand with light pressure. I almost like to think of it as like if I'm holding my clipper with just 3 fingers. That's the kind of pressure that you need to have so that you're creating soft guides. Even when you're setting up your guidelines, have that mentality that you're already starting to fade. So that when you're setting in your first guideline, don't think that you're setting in a guideline. Think more so that you're setting a soft guide for yourself. I think a lot of beginners like to emphasize a little too hard on, I need to see a hard line, which is not the case, because when you create a hard line, sometimes it's a little, or you have to overwork with trying to blend it out. So when I'm creating my guides in the beginning, I'm soft with it. I'm already with the mindset of I'm blending them out or creating a fade, so that in turn helps me create softer guides. And then I'm always continuously feeling on the scalp to make sure that you're not leaving any stubble. I like to feel that the skin is really bald, so I'll use the back of my finger to kind of feel on his skin a little bit, just to see if the shaver missed any areas. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start detailing my lineup before I follow it up with a straight razor. This is where you're more so in the mindset of detailing, so take your time and get your lines as sharp as possible. Now, there is a fine line between pushing edges too far back and not pushing them back enough. So take a step back and kind of mentally or visually see where you feel that lineup needs to be, so that it gives that strong, sharp illusion. Again, sometimes I feel that we're scared to push it back because we don't want to get ridiculed, or we don't want our client freaking out. But you know, sometimes you just gotta take that leap to really learn where exactly that lineup needs to be, so that it actually looks sharp, especially if you don't want to use enhancements. Now I am going to use some of our Faded Culture shaving gel and apply a thin coat. I never dry shave, guys. I know a lot of barbers like to. I personally don't, because even though sometimes it's easier or more convenient, I don't like, some people will rash up, get red and irritated, and I just personally don't like doing that. But y'all can find our shave set at fadedculture.com if y'all are interested in checking it out. Here I'm using the slide razor and always pulling with the opposite hand on the skin from the back end of the razor. Never pull from the front. That's what's gonna help you create that tension. It's gonna tighten up the skin so that you can easily slide with the razor. These razors are already sharp as hell, so with the shave gel and with minimal and firm pressure, you'll be able to create a clean shave. And I always shave against the grain as well, against the lineup, to really help it shave close and get that sharp edge. And I always detail behind the ear as well, because sometimes our trimmer and our clippers miss those areas, and I don't like seeing any little peach fuzz or long hairs that stick out on people's behind the ear. Now this one's preference, but if you want to use enhancements, I mix equal parts of water with hair dye, put it in a air gun, and then just apply them lightly on the edges. Now I am gonna dampen the hair a little bit before applying some of our matte clay. I do recommend that y'all style every client, guys. I use our matte clay for pretty much all of our haircuts. To have that little bit of a wet look, I wet the hair a little bit first, and then I'll get about a dime size of hair product, apply it on the fade to press it down. It makes the fade look a lot nicer, especially if you're gonna take pictures. And it's just an extra way, especially if you wanna invest in some product and retail sales. It's an extra way to make money, guys. And we did just roll out our wholesale product for barbers. So when you style your client, most of the time the product sells itself, and you'll be able to sell product to your clients, make an extra profit, and it just makes the haircut look way better, especially for pictures. So hope y'all liked it, guys. Let me know in the comments what y'all thought about this haircut, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next video.
I brought a little bit extra.
Write this down, Ruben, because this is a serious prescription. Listen up, hurry.
Okay,
You're going to take one for the next 63 days. Hurry, take one of these. It's going to be one in the AM, one in the PM. Make sure you take the one in the AM, because this is not going to work if you don't take the one in the AM. 63 days.
One in the AM,
63 days.
one in the PM.
Yes, 1 AM, 1 PM.
Gotcha.